Greetings and welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, it is that time for the panel discussions. We do that on Thursdays. If you are a supporter on Patreon or on Think Life Media, you can join in on these discussions. We do them Thursdays at 7 o'clock because that's what works for most people. So let's go ahead and jump on over. And today we're going to be talking about, can Facebook go privacy-centric? Of course, the Zuckmuster pushed out a letter this week, and we're going to look over that letter and determine what's going on there. So, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Very well, thanks.
Very good. And Jesse's on a first-class flight, just so you guys know.
I was just about to say I'm enjoying my flight.
Except I think that my screen is pulling the wrong web browser for some reason. I don't know why. It's not updating on the right spots. Give me a second here. I gotta fight with my systems here. Not Chromium. Are you in this one? Hey, there we are. Now we're back. Jeez. Weirdness going on. Like, everything is perfect for, like, ever, and then all of a sudden, stuff just does not like to get set up for me right. I don't know. Don't quite understand it. I think there might actually be another Hangouts call down here somewhere. Yeah. I was on some old one. But anyway, greetings. How's everybody doing? I already said that, didn't I? It's one of them days, guys. All right, Chad V's here. Greetings, Chad V. Put simply, no, not a chance. So we have one vote for not a chance, and Stephen Jones says, nah, basically what Chad said, so not a chance. Sleepy's here, of course. Jesse Crypto's here. Joe and Olivero, greetings. Steve, he's in a really weird pose. He's about to pounce in that picture. Yes, the kitty, he likes to do his selfies like that, so, you know. Frickin' greetings. Hi, how are you? Carbon Programmer, greetings there. Eric Fleming, hello. Define privacy-centric. We'll get into their definition of privacy-centric today. And Shadow, yes, I trust Facebook 100%. They will do the right thing. My handler wants me back in the crate. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Your handler must be the Zuckmeister. What'd you do if his screen popped up and it was Windows 10 desktop? Me? I mean, come on, man. Come on. Shh. Don't tell. Don't tell. I'm on Windows. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Anyway, so I sent this article out to you guys. I think at least, two of you guys read it at least. Jesse, did you get a chance to read it too or not?
No, and actually what I was trying to do right now, why you see me looking all over, was because I was looking for the article and I can't find it.
Oh, okay. I would send you a copy of what I have, but since Facebook is blocked on my network, I had to unblock Facebook from my network today, get on, and then I saved a copy of it as an HTML file, and I reblocked Facebook because I don't want Facebook tracking me on my computer. I mean, that's insanity.
I can put it in the Google chat.
Oh, yeah.
Or either that or I can just look it up here. But yeah, you said you post them on Think Life Media, and I don't see it under articles or anything. So.
It's under the blog post for the discussion today.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Quint's out of town right now. Bummer. Quint's out of town. It's like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. You can tell I spent a lot of time on your website, and I know how to navigate it thoroughly, right?
Thoroughly. I put it on Patreon, too. I'm not sure if you're on Patreon, too, or not. I'm not sure. No? Okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Someone can find a link and send that to you. It's you can just look up Mark Zuckerberg. In fact, New York Times, I think, released the entire text as well, right?
I just put that link in the Hangouts chat, Jesse.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right. So shall we go ahead and... so first, initial impressions before we actually dive into the article. Can Facebook go privacy-centric? You guys, quick thoughts. Ben, what do you think?
Probably not.
Okay.
But while I was reading the article, one thing that struck me as really strange. I'd like the kind of article you would write to your customers.
Mm-hmm. We're really sorry for the data breach.
Customers.
And, you know, we're really sorry for that data breach, and it will never happen again.
Right. And the users are not the customer. The users are the product.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what we need to keep in mind. Yeah. Jesse, initial thoughts? Going into it blind.
Yeah, I'm completely blind, but to answer the question directly, can they protect your privacy? Can they attempt to? Yeah, they could. They're not going to. But you and I both know how secure any website on the internet is. and it doesn't matter. There's always going to be unforeseen things, even if they try their hardest to protect your privacy. It's just social media is a system of divulging information, which is a breach of your own privacy that you're doing voluntarily anyway. So if you can't do anything about it, why should anybody else?
Mm-hmm. Sure. All right, and Vince.
In one word, no.
Okay.
Until their business model changes, no.
And that's a key factor. In fact, one of the articles I read today about this, that's exactly their point. I think it was from Wired. They're like, yeah, there's something glaringly missing from this amazing article. It's, yeah, our entire business model is based on selling your data. To sell your data, we have to have it. And going back to what everyone else has already said, yeah, unless there's a fundamental change in their business model, probably not much of a chance. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Of course, this is an HTML saved copy of the site because Facebook is blocked on my network. I could not pull it up live, so I pulled it up today. And so the Zuckmeister pushed this out yesterday, the privacy-focused vision for social network. Now, the entire article has a lot of fascinating points, and if we were to get a social network that ran with these philosophies, that's a great thing, and it would be a great service. The question is, and I guess some of the questions we want to ask is, can Facebook do that? Is it part of their alignment with their goals? And is this enough to win back trust from people like me that I'm starting out doing a new business launch, and Facebook is one of the best places I could launch some of my services, but it's the one place I'm not absolutely going to do it. Unless we have this really fascinating discussion and you guys say, yeah, you should at least give them another try. But as of right now, I don't have any accounts on them and I don't have it. And by Facebook, I mean any Facebook-owned property. I don't use Facebook. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't use Instagram. And anything else that they buy, I would close down pretty quick and immediately. So of course, this is 15 years, Facebook and Instagram. I love that he claims credit for Instagram. They've only owned it for a very short period of time. But Facebook and Instagram have helped people connect to friends, communities, and interests in the digital equivalent of a town square. But people increasingly want to connect privately in the digital equivalent of a living room. So let's focus on that part there first. And no, we're not going to read through the whole article like that. We would be here for 5 hours, and we only have about one. So I like the overall concept of having a public square and having a private square is a good point. A social network should have, a good social network would have that. The question is, who all? Is it a private living room just with you and the people you're talking to? Or is it a private living room that always has a tele screen listening? So what's your guys' initial thoughts on that? Public square and private square combined into one platform. Is it possible? We'll start, Ben. What do you think?
Probably not. I think the tele screen is always going to be watching on this one. And something else that that I noticed was at no point in that article, you know, he talks about like user control, what they can see, how long these messages stick around, all that sort of thing. It seems only concerned with what other users can see about you and your history. It doesn't seem to touch on anything else. So I would imagine that even if you are in the digital living room, so to speak, Facebook knows what's going on in that room and everybody else does, so long as they're not users.
Yeah. And that's the ultimate issue. Jesse, anything to add to that?
Yeah, like whether both can be done at the same time. I would actually say, yeah, totally possible. But again, we're back to their business model, right? Obviously, anything that's going to be on your public wall and all that, or in your public post, that's all going to be data that they need in order to fulfill their business model. But to touch on the bullet point that I read about them wanting to incorporate end-to-end encryption, which I believe they're talking about direct messages, that's the other avenue. And another app that works similar to that is Telegram, where although you can have private conversations if you open up a private chat, which uses end-to-end encryption, and it's never even saved on anybody's server. In the case of most other messages, it's basically clear text over, well, it's over SSL, but it's clear text going through a server anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Vince, what do you think?
I also believe in the article they mentioned something about moving things from the private area to the public area and vice versa as well. How are they going to do that with end-to-end encryption? Because, I mean, someone can correct me more if I'm wrong about encryption, who knows more about it than me. I find that very difficult to fathom how they're going to achieve that. And even if they do that, I'm sure they're probably going to still find a way to harvest some form of data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like, and this is the love-hate with social media. I am not opposed to social media for a business, for a customer to get in there and be able to communicate or see what's up with the business, because that's a lot less invasive than an email. I'd rather just have a social network that I can jump on and see a business updates rather than have them spam my inbox with stuff I don't want. And so that's the one thing, and that's kind of that public square part. I don't mind the social network part of the public square. I care when that telescreen shows up in my living room. And when they start collecting and analyzing and putting together data that I've not said is for the public square, then it should be relocated to the private, in which case no one should be able to use that in any way, shape, or form, whether it's advertising or others. So that's one of those key factors, that the social media aspect, there's parts of it that I think are good, and there's parts of it that I think are bad. I think overall for Facebook, I think the bad overweights the good. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm thinking over right now as I launch this channel out, bigger. And it's like, do I put social media on this channel so you guys can follow up if, YouTube goes crazy and, whatever else? Is there other ways you can reach out? And that's one of those questions. Newsflash, I don't really do much on social media. So, I do more social media on my other channels where I have an author profile on Goodreads, and I actually have a Twitter account that gets maybe a tweet when I post a video, but I don't know. We have some Facebook users here saying it can burn for all I care, which is cool. And that's kind of the way I feel at times. And even if they do keep it private, what's to keep them from selling downline? Nothing. And that's the point. Are they storing anything is that key point. That living room conversation has got to stay in that living room and have no connection anywhere else. That's kind of my thoughts there. Anything else before we move on here? All right. So he's kind of talking here about all these different things, and he gets these points here. The privacy-focused platform will be built around several principles. And this is, I think, where we're going to spend most of our time. Number one is private interactions. People should have simple, intimate places where they have clear control over who can communicate with them and confidence that no one else can access what they share. This is that point where Facebook dropped the ball, because everyone thought it was just between them and their friends, to find that Facebook was scooping up everything in the background. So private interactions, what do you guys think? Ben, what's up?
I mean, this is one of the big concerns I have with this statement is, and we've talked about this ad nauseum so far, is that their current business model is incompatible with these principles.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if they don't change that, and I don't know what that form would be, if this would be some kind of opt-in pay service, of which I don't think people would sign up for. Mm-hmm. But there would have to be something to offset the revenue shortfall if these were implemented properly.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Jesse.
Well, to be honest, I don't think that there's anything. So I've gone through all the points of basically what we're up to. I don't think there's anything in here that really doesn't conform to their business model. And here's why, is because the only parts that are going to be encrypted, the only parts they're not going to be able to see, that they're not going to be able to log and not be able to data mine, is going to be on the end-to-end encrypted data, which is only possible through direct messaging, which means in your browser, the message is encrypted, and in my browser, it's decrypted. And Facebook never has access to that. Now, how much do we trust that they're not also storing the key to unlock it?
Correct.
But I think that's the only portion that would prevent them from doing anything that they're doing right now.
Absolutely. Vince.
I think actually in the article they say they don't store the key themselves.
Correct.
But because I use WhatsApp quite extensively for messaging, and I use it because that's where everyone I know is on. So I've got the WhatsApp app on my phone. I've also got Facebook Messenger on my phone as well because I know people on that as well. Now, if it's encrypted, I understand it's encrypted when it's been transferred over the net, but I presume it's unencrypted on my phone because I can see my messages. Now, what's to stop these two apps talking to each other on my phone whilst the messages are stored on my phone?
Yeah, and being as that there was this thing just out last week indicating that all of these apps, whether you had a Facebook account or not, whether you were signed in or not, was sending all this data to Facebook anyway, I would say that the chances are good that they are collecting it. And so it's like, do I trust this? I don't know. I don't know. That's privacy interactions. All right, so encryption, we kind of already talked about this, so maybe we'll do a couple here in a row. People's private communication should be secure. End-to-end encryption prevents anyone, including us, from seeing what people share on our devices. Now, of course, Vince, we'll go back to you because this is directly in contradiction to the rules just passed in Australia. So anything specific about that, where they're trying to say we can't even see it?
Yeah, I still struggle to. I don't think it's ever been used yet, these new laws. I still struggle to see how tech companies will be able to comply if what they're saying is true about the encryption. I see it as limits on the part of politicians about not consulting enough. The rules, when the laws were passed, they were rushed through. There was not enough consultation. Tim Cook had sent submissions. I think they were probably ignored. WhatsApp and Facebook and whoever else sent submissions, and I'm pretty sure they were ignored as well. So it was more a political thing, more than anything else. So in general, I don't think if the companies uphold the end of the deal, I don't think there's too much to fear from these rules. But who's to say things can change down the track?
All right. Then the next point is one I really want to look at. Reducing permanence. And this one is so important because we're getting to this point now where particularly, the one group that some would call the social justice warriors have just become masters at digging through your Twitter. And you had one tweet that happened, at the dawn of Twitter's existence, still happens to be there. They find that and cause you to lose your job over it now over one little tweet. And so this is one of these points, and also I think Carbon Programmer's watching that, talks about this a lot as well, where it was this point of contention that you sign up for college, you go to get a job application, they want to see your social media so they can dig back through your posts themselves. So the next point is reducing permanence. People should be comfortable being themselves and should not have to worry about what they share coming back to hurt them later. So we won't keep messages or stories around for longer than necessary to deliver the service or longer than people want them. Now, another fact on this point is that are we talking about just the communications on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, which it might be what they're more talking about, or are they talking about I post something on Facebook's wall, how long is that there? So what do you guys think about that kind of stuff? Ben, what's your thoughts there?
I'm not sure there's anything you can do to keep something you post publicly from being archived. So even if Facebook itself doesn't have a copy of it, that doesn't mean somebody else didn't grab a screenshot or do something else. Yeah, and that happens all the time. To
quote from the movie The Social Network, the internet is written in pen. Okay. Yeah, so anything else to add to that?
No, it seems to me that once it's there, it's there. And if you didn't encrypt it, then it's there forever.
Yeah. So Carbon Programmer says, my teacher says social media will become a necessity in academia. Do you think that is true? Ooh, that's a good one. Let's go head through Jesse and Vince, and then we'll talk about that question there because that's a good question. Jesse, thoughts on that?
I was thinking about this one in terms of their business model again as well. So suppose even if they don't keep your actual data, they don't keep a copy, they don't archive things. By the time you get around to deleting it and suppose they comply and do a full delete, they've already logged everything they need in a statistical fashion. So they already know your main interest, your main points, your likes, your dislikes, or whatever information they wanted to harvest out of those posts or out of those messages if they were public. And so in terms of their business model, again, this doesn't stop Facebook themselves from doing anything. It's just whether or not somebody else is going to be able to access this information that somebody's probably already screenshotted, like Ben just said, right?
Yeah. Screenshot that forever. And of course, now we get into the question of deepfakes. Did he really say that? Ooh. I don't know if we want to chase that rabbit. Vince, thoughts on reducing permanence?
Yeah, no, exactly what you guys have already said. The Internet Archive is a thing. The old rule still stands. If you don't want something to be remembered, don't share it at all, anywhere.
Yeah, which is becoming harder and harder. So let's go ahead and talk about this point, this question that Carbon Programmer says. So teacher says social media will become a necessity in academia. Do you think this is true? Vince, we'll start with you this time because you might have more of an opinion on this at this point. Oh, you're still muted, Vince.
That's interesting. I said that's interesting because I was just reading an article this morning in our local news media about how there are some schools trialing Google homework for third graders and making it compulsory. Yeah, I know. But they're saying that in the implementation of it, they're saying that feature and the chat feature is disabled. If that's true, okay, maybe okay. But the parents who were interviewed as part of this article were saying that they really don't want kids to be using so much technology at such a young age. There are plenty of other things they should be doing, like using a pencil and a paper.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of submitting homework online at all. Although there was one good thing. There was one good thing that they pointed out. At least the dog can't eat it.
This is true. But as a person who used to sell academic software and used it in my classrooms, I will tell you that academic software makes morons of your students. It just does. You don't, because homework isn't about getting an answer, and that's what, there is no online homework platform that focuses on the process. That's the process that causes you to learn, not the answer. And all of the academic software only cares about the answer. It contradicts the purpose of education, which is to learn a process. That's it. Jesse, thoughts on that? Education and social media?
Well, I could tell a story about that, actually. At a young age, I realized in school that the only object was to get the right answer. And 2 weeks before you had needed the right answer, the teacher told it to you in class, right? So I got really, really good at just paying attention, just knowing the answer, and writing it down on a piece of paper 2 weeks later, and I could get straight A's doing that. There was nothing, you didn't need to know the process about anything, other than in mathematics, where I paid attention because I was interested in it. Everything else, it was easy to wing, and I come at a later time than you going through the education system, and now kids today have even more, technology and more teacher replacement tools. It's not just the TV that's rolled in on the cart anymore with the VCR, the cassette player attached to it. Now we've got just such an easy access to technology that, like you say, the whole process is gone. There's no thinking for yourself. And if you're smart going through school, you're going to realize very quickly that the only thing you need to do is write the right answer down in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we had our world geography class. He would tell us exactly how he wanted it worded on the exam, and it was literally just. And he would pause so you could write the exact sentences. As long as you memorize the sentences, that's how you were going to pass.
Oh, if you go to a large school, the first high school I attended, they did all their exams using Scantron cards. Where you got the one choice out of 4, you fill in the bubble and they just scan it with a machine. So when I say that all you needed to know is the right answer, that's how much it was. And if you didn't know, it's always C, right?
Yep, there you go. C. Ben, your thoughts? Social media, is this going to be required for education?
I I see that a little bit now. I have some coworkers with small children, and they require, you know, use of Google services and all of that sort of thing.
Scary. Scary.
I mean, a little bit like Jesse was saying, I imagine he's not too far different in age than I am. It was, you know, you rolled the TV card in, you watched your thing, you took your standardized test, you used a pen and paper. The nearest computer was sitting on a giant desk at home because it was a desktop tower. And if you needed to look something up on the internet, that was almost a special occasion.
Yeah,
because you had to go somewhere special to do it. You needed to remember the answer because you didn't have a cell phone in your pocket to look it up again.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we were better off back then. You know, I remember we got internet in our high school. I think it was my senior year we finally got internet in our high school. You know, which I think we were better for it. Let me do a shout out to Tech Bismo, bringing Yeet 3560 to his channel. Welcome, Yeet. Enjoy your being here, and yeah, definitely check out the rest of these guys as well. So, and thanks Tech Bismo for bringing them on over. Awesome. All right, let's see. Safety. People should expect that what we do. People should expect that we will do everything we can to keep them safe on our services within the limits of what's possible in an encrypted service. This is kind of gets to this interplay between anytime you start to implement real true encryption that the company can't break, you have to give up some of your security. Are we willing to give up some of our security for privacy? Or do we want to give up our privacy for more security? And this is that age-old question. You can never be 100% secure and 100% private. So where do we lie? Me personally, hey, I'm an old school guy. Let me take care of myself. I want ultimate privacy. That's my thoughts. And where do we sit on this spectrum? And, you know, where does this fit into a social network? So would you guys be okay with the fact that there's you know, trolls out there who will certainly abuse the platforms? Are you guys okay with that? Ben, we'll go back to you first.
Do me last.
Okay, do you last. All right, Vince. Jesse, we'll do you, Jesse.
Well, in my case, I'm like you. I value my privacy, but for me, my privacy is my security, right? And if you have competence, especially in a digital space, and I would say experience as well, then you can be extremely secure while maintaining privacy. Now, for my children or for your children, privacy is definitely the most insecure thing to them because they don't have the competence in this space and they don't have the experience to make proper decisions and good judgments and you know, be able to decipher for themselves things.
Hence, they will let Facebook put an app on their phone to track absolutely everything that they do on the root level.
Yeah. So where's this security going to come in there if it's going to be private, right? There's got to be something there in order to protect that, which I'm sure they're thinking of. They got some of these parental settings on these apps now too, but it's whether did your parents install Facebook on your phone or did you do it yourself? I know if I was a kid, whatever my parents do, trust me, I'll figure out how to undo. So
yeah. Like, it's difficult. I can set up somebody's computer system so they could never access bad stuff. I could never set up a computer system that I can't bypass. That's it, you know. Vince, what's your thoughts on this? Safety, security, privacy?
I've read that statement several times now, and I really dislike statements like these because whenever somebody says, we will do everything we can, or they say, within the limits of what's possible, it's leaving them a massive out, isn't it? Like, if they were serious about it, they would say, we will protect your privacy. We will keep kids safe. We will do this. I mean, it's just another excuse for them to be able to shortchange everyone on their safety. I don't believe it.
That's actually, to add to that, if you read all the other points, it's the same thing. But yeah, it's like McDonald's hamburger. It's made with 100% real beef. How much of it is 100% real beef, we have no idea, but it's made with it.
Pretty much zero. It's essentially a soy burger, effectively.
And that's what made this entire thing for me so difficult to read.
All right. Ben, you have something now, or?
No, that was I've got the article up over here, and that was what Vince said was the point that had me stuck in a dumb loop, because it reads so hollow. It's, we're going to try to do this stuff, but I don't make any promises on it.
Yeah, it kind of reads like a politician, you know. All right. He that shall not be named with the caddy in the trunk is on. He just says, be quiet. He's trying to stay private, just so you guys know. You guys know who I'm talking about. Careful with the caddy in the trunk. All right. Let's see. Interoperability. People should be able to use any of our apps to reach their friends, and they should be able to communicate across networks easily and securely. This is the Trojan horse. All right. This is the Trojan horse. So with the Trojan horse that we're talking about here, interoperability, this is basically their code wave saying, hey, we're merging all of our things. You know, that very thing that they said we are never going to do as a condition of purchasing these services. They said they were never going to integrate them. And guess what? They are now integrating them. They pushed out the original developers. Now they're integrating them. Now the roadblocks are out of the way. So this raises this question of, if I do want it, the best security is always segregation. That is why Cubes is the best. If you want the best security and privacy-centric Linux operating system, you want to use Cubes. It's difficult to use, but that's the one you want to use because it isolates everything. I don't want... If I said, okay, I'm going to break down and I'm going to use Instagram for one of my new business launches, but I don't want to use Facebook or WhatsApp. Now Instagram can be accessed in Facebook and WhatsApp, and now I'm passing all this information in that I otherwise wouldn't want to see. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with that. What do you guys think about that interoperability part?
I mean, at that point, why have separate apps?
That's a good question. Yep.
One word: marketing. Shelf space,
right?
like,
If
a grocery store.
Out of favor, you can quietly kill that one and bring up another one on the exact same network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else want to add something to that one? I'm just trying to catch up on the comments here. So if you have 20 gigs of RAM, you want to use Cubes. I've used Cubes successfully with as little as 8, and I would not want to use it with less than that. Yeah. And Unchained says it's a lie. No security, period. Well, no, there's some security. Yeah, I mean, there's some things you can do. I mean, you just want to be very careful. But, you know, yeah, security is more difficult to handle for sure. Last one, secure data storage. Oh, we're talking about security now, huh? People should expect that we won't store sensitive data in countries with weak records on human rights, like privacy and freedom of expression, in order to protect data from being improperly accessed. Well, that sounds like another interesting one. What do you guys think about that one? Anyone jump in first?
Well, you can expect me to do whatever you want, but I don't have to meet your expectations. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's no contractual obligation.
Yeah. Ben, anything to add to that?
Just like all the other statements, and we've talked about this a lot, is people should expect. That's the room for interpretation there is so wide. And, you know, which countries are these? What constitutes, you know, weak records on human rights? You know, all of it would just be a lot simpler to say we're not going to store sensitive data on anybody.
It actually reads like the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wrote this article.
Ooh, maybe Justin Trudeau is Mark Zuckerberg. Ooh.
Or they're both from the same planet.
Yeah, you know.
And they're both in hot water at the moment.
This is true, very true. So I love this sentence. We've worked hard to build privacy into our products, including those for public sharing. What is he talking about? Facebook worked hard to build privacy into our products? No, Facebook worked hard to remove privacy from all of our products. What is he talking about? Wow. So then he goes on, this is different from broader social networks where people can accumulate friends and followers until the service feels more public. This is well suited to many important uses, telling all your friends about something, to use your voice on important topics, as long as we don't ban you, finding communities of people with similar interests, following creators. This is that part where social media is good to come together, to bring people together, is certainly a valid point that I would look at and say, okay, yeah, I agree with that. The question is, how much background are you scooping up? Are you allowing me to share only what I want? And are you allowing me to remove it perpetually and completely? And that's the thing. But again, once you're sharing it in any public space, you have to be careful that that's not going to be there. So, thoughts on that? And then, of course, the rest of it's kind of a little bit more in depth about it. And then they end with some next steps where they're kind of just talking about trade-offs and work. Now, as we said at the very beginning, one of the major issues and challenges to this right now is that everything they're talking about here, while it might sound great on the surface, is completely contrary to the current business model of Facebook. And so where do we go from here? This is the thing that Wired pointed out, that there's no talk about how they're going to sustain a business model. I mean, we're back to that discussion in the cab, once again, to the social network. You know, are we ending the party after 10, or are we going to have a party at all? You know, raises that question. So Ben, final thoughts on that part?
I mean, I don't see a way for Facebook to do all of the things that I would want Facebook to do and maintain the way they currently do business. It would not be Facebook anymore. Mm-hmm. But then again, I'm not a Facebook user. So for all of these reasons, you know, these concerns and all the other stuff. And I imagine that the people that, you know, there's going to be people that use Facebook no matter what they do. They don't care. They just want something free, and they don't care if data or anything else is mined off their accounts. So I see this as kind of a net zero. It's full of hollow statements, and it's not going to change anything.
Yeah. Jesse.
Nothing really to add. I don't think. I think no matter what through this, whatever they're thinking is only going to add in some way. They got it planned. They just, like, nothing in this is written in plain step 1, step 2, step 3. It's all written in pseudo language, right? Like, it's all written in, you know, maybes. We might do this, should expect this. So what's not being written? Whatever they're doing is going to add to their business model, not take away from it. Like, that's a guarantee.
Sudo apt install BS.
Lots of it. That's a capital B, capital S.
All right. Vince, final thoughts on that?
I think the business model aspect of it is all important, and exactly what the other guys have said. When I remember when Facebook was first listed on the stock exchange, there was actually a lot of discussion about how it was actually going to make any money. And if I recall correctly, its shares actually tanked on the first day that it was listed. We now know how it's making its money. It has been successful for its shareholders in making that money. And everything that's already been said is true. How can they continue that and now become supposedly privacy-centric? At the same time, it does not compute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess the bottom line point is, it'd be nice if Facebook could go this direction, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't see... I don't see how they can make it work. Now, Facebook kind of ruined social media for most people, and I think a lot of people who don't like social media, I should say, because most people are still on social media. This brings to that final question. You guys know, my supporters know, because we talk after these, that I'm in the middle of launching some other businesses and things, that one of apparently the best places to go to right now for advertising is Facebook and Instagram. So what do you guys think as far as, do you still use Facebook? Is it worth using for a business enterprise? What's your general thoughts on that, and advice to launching a new business? Is it something I should go for the gusto, or is it a thing of saying, use some of the other platforms even though you might get hurt more in the long run? So what do you guys think?
I can comment on that. I've personally been off Facebook now for 6 months and counting. The only times I need to log in are to manage business profiles, our business accounts. In terms of products, people do visit it. People do look at it because they follow the links on the website as well, and it's an easy way for them to follow developments and news. But you've got to look at which audience you're targeting. So Facebook is now becoming irrelevant for a certain demographic. So you've got to keep that in mind. It's actually quite a narrow demographic, probably from 25, maybe 30 pluses, I would think, that still use Facebook. Everyone younger than that is off it, I think.
Ew, my parents are over there. I'm not getting on Facebook.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still useful from a marketing perspective. And I know some businesses who don't even have any websites other than their Facebook profile. You see that a lot.
Yeah, which I think is a risky thing to do, but absolutely. Yeah. Jesse, thoughts? Should I bite the bullet and go to Facebook?
I think, well, yes, there's the demographic. I think it's valuable as a business. Now, if you're just going to go on, the only things that you need, you got to make a profile to be able to make your business page. Your profile doesn't really, it's got to have your first and last name on it, and I think you can even hide your last name. You don't need to add any content to it to be able to open up the advertiser's account. All you need is a business page. So for whatever name you write under, or your publication name or whatever, just so that you have a presence as a page, and then your ads are all associated with that page and not with your personal profile anyway. And there's no actual link up between the page and personal profile. So you're intelligent, you're competent in this space, you know what information you want to give out and what information you don't. So I think if you were just going to plainly use it for business purposes to be able to run ads, then I don't see the harm in that. And as far as everybody else, well, we can't save everybody. They're going to use it anyway. So if you can make some money on there, who cares?
Absolutely. Ben, what's your thoughts?
I agree with everything Jesse just said. I think that you should put that, if you're going to use it for business, you should put it where the eyes are. And there are a great many eyes on Facebook, even if, there are some philosophical implications of having. And
for me, it's like the biggest thing that I'm thinking about is, man, do I even want to feed this advertising machine? Do I want to give them ad dollars, to do the things I need to do?
You do have an Amazon link.
I do have an Amazon link, but there's and I've talked about this before. I see almost no practical benefit to a Facebook account. I do see some practical benefit to an Amazon account, even though I think that they are, an evil, crazy, unscrupulous company that probably has some issues. They also do some good things. From an author standpoint, as an author, if I direct you to my Amazon links to buy my book on Amazon, I make more money any other way except if you buy it directly from me, but then I have to front the inventory. Amazon's a really good thing for authors in that respect. They also have the ability that I can use cash and buy things and send them to a pickup location, and the only thing I have to have for an Amazon account is a first name and an email address, and I can get an anonymous email address at Proton. So I can do that. And then Google, I don't necessarily mind giving them some ad dollars as well. Particularly, they've given me enough money on YouTube, so, I can spend some back. But Facebook, I'm having a very hard time coming up with any reason to use any of their products. But that's my thought. I don't know. So, I don't know. I don't know. Verdict's still out. I don't know if I'm going to create any of these evil accounts with for my businesses or not.
I think you could try. I think you could try it for a little while and just see what kind of feedback you get. See what kind of numbers you get from Facebook. If it's going to be low, just close it out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, remember, it's 100% private. You can delete your information anytime you want.
That's right. It is
Zero
completely
risk.
private. It is absolutely zero risk at all. Then, of course, that means that I have to unblock Facebook on my entire network. I don't want to do that because then they'll track me around the internet. I don't know. But unrelated businesses. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, I have Twitter and Pinterest and Goodreads on my Christian stuff because my Christian stuff, it's a different audience. Of course, I need to build more of that up, but at the same time, I have that. Speaking of that, by the way, we are going to be doing a live stream in about an hour over on the Christian channel, and we're talking about faith and family. Will your children follow you in growing in Christ? So that will be at the 9 o'clock Eastern time. So take a look over there. Any final thoughts? Let's actually go through the comments, then we'll do final thoughts. I've hit many of them I was looking through, but I didn't get a chance to see all of them. If anybody sees any comments that you want to highlight, go for it. God, now I can advertise this channel. Oh, that's okay. I don't mind if you, as long as you're not a crazy person, you can do a little bit of appropriate shout outs to yourself, I guess. User 1987, or as long as you're not user 1984, but only one that properly syncs calendar works and killer sort of content. Well, Nextcloud works with all that stuff as well, though, which is good. Let's see. Chrome Beta is better than Chrome Stable and Chrome Dev? Huh, okay. NetZero was just a Juno mail server. Ooh. I do remember NetZero. Steve Nitz, get on this show. Well, Steve, we do 7 o'clock Eastern time, and this one is for the supporters, either Patreon or Think Life Media. You can check those out, thinklifemedia.com or patreon.com/TomM. And every now and again, it's rarely and without schedule, we might do an open chat. I don't do a lot of open chats on my channel, though. Okay. Some discussion back and forth, which is cool. Don't have time to use the Nextcloud Proton. Yeah, if you're doing Proton Mail is good if you don't want to, if you only want email, it doesn't have contacts, Cloud Sync, stuff like that. But Proton Mail is okay for emails. Quint says no teenagers have Facebook. Okay, probably. Yu-Gi-Oh's pushing the me-we again. Me, go we, all the way home. Huh? Anything else? Loopy's here. Greetings, Loopy. Greetings. Are you trying to summon me? Beetlejuice. Anyone remember that movie? What would I recommend instead of G Suite? I utilize a Nextcloud system, and my email is handled by my cPanel platform. Anybody else have any recommendations other than G Suite? I think Hated One just did a video on that just about a week or so ago. I can't remember what it was, but I have to look for it. $1987, you want to use it with your domain. cPanel's the best way to get good, fast email if you want to use your domain. Walmart green sheets, new wall hanging fashion just joined. Huh, wait, what? Walmart green sheets is a new, oh, that's, I think that one's for you, Jesse. So apparently green sheets in Walmart is the new hanging fashion.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see the comment there originally,
hey,
but
I got
yeah, it's
see? Yep. Hey man, green screens, gotta love them, right?
yeah, yeah. I'm still looking for a way here so that I can set up a virtual camera out. That way, there when I'm actually on a hangout, I can utilize the green screen, and I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be set up on my end too to take your shade of green, so it'd be very difficult to set.
No, I can take that out on my end so that my actual display will already be pre-filtered.
Yeah, you could set up your own display. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's say if I wanted to choose your background, I would have to set it up on mine.
Yeah, I've done some stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that on Linux yet. I used to be able to do it on Windows, but of course, that's sort of a touchy space in Linux right now. So we'll figure that out soon, I'm sure.
So Evil Step Twin says, I personally think MeWe is a new data collection platform. You guys have any experience on MeWe?
What's MeWe?
It's a new social platform. Toss is on it. Ricky's on it. Bunch of guys.
Yeah, I'm on MeWe. I'm hesitantly going into it. We'll see what happens.
Okay. He's Jesse. Steve thought that you were just hiding a mess back there. So.
It actually used to serve for that purpose, but I cleaned up my office. It used to hide all my server stuff and all that. So that's my server on the bottom, and then another server on top, basically. But I cleaned that all up. That used to be a big mess of wires and computer parts and about 4 laptops and a stack of hard drives sitting all over the place. And I used to just grab the green screen and shove it over this way, and then you didn't have to look at the mess. But problem solved.
All right, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master is going to be running some live chat soon. He's just waiting for one more Ethernet cable to come in. That's very cool. Loopy asked how much for just a domain name. I personally charge, I think, $12.50. I think for domain names, you can pick them up. You know, that's about average-ish. WhatsApp is a data vacuum too. Yeah, that's what I'd probably guess. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here so I can hang out with these guys off the show. So Ben, final words.
So, I mean, I'm just going to say in general what I think about social networks, and specifically, you know, if you're on one of these networks, you should keep in mind that you're on a service that's probably free like beer, and you need to understand why you're there and why they want you there. And if those two don't balance, you need to get off of.
The kitty show.
Yeah, more or less. Anytime you believe you're getting something for free, or you can't figure out what product there is that you're purchasing, or if you're not purchasing a product, that's because you are the product.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, many people don't realize those points, and that's why I commend channels like yours, Tom. You're trying to get the message out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're aware of the risks and you take the appropriate steps, I'm okay with that, and that's perfectly okay. I would like to see a little bit less data collection on Facebook's end. I would like it that if I did not have a Facebook account and I didn't want anything to do with Facebook, that I would not have to block their platform entirely. But that's not the way it is. And that's why I block it entirely. That's why I don't really want to feed the Facebook machine anymore, personally. But I don't know. Any other final thoughts? All right. Well, we've fed the kitties, so I think we're going to go ahead and jump off of the live chat for now. So thanks for coming along, and let me know if you have a specific topic for next time, and we'll go from there.